Okay, hi people, my name is Ante. Today I'll be talking about auto layout and NSURL session.
You can change here.
Yeah. Like this? Okay, so what's new in auto layout? So one thing that is new is actually old, and that is auto resizing masks. They are back. What does it mean? It means that now you can use auto resizing masks in the interface builder in the same view which other subviews has constraints. So you can use them alongside the constraint-based views. This is basically not something like new. They already had this functionality. So only it was implemented on the runtime. Because if you add a subview, it automatically translates auto resizing mask constraint to true, which means if you don't set the constraints, it will use auto resizing mask and then translate them to constraints. But now you can use that in the interface builder. So it's a good way to prototype stuff, and you could use it until you are ready for consensus, until you're not sure what the view will look like exactly. So it's a basically simplified view resizing. It was available before auto layout, which was introduced in iOS 6. Okay, another thing they implemented is it's about design and runtime constraints. So they added the ambiguity verification. So now, alongside the placeholder intrinsic content size and placeholder constraints, you can set the ambiguity. So you can have, for your own custom views, you can have just one constraint set, like horizontal centering. And you can set the ambiguity to never verify, and interface builder auto layout engine will set that view as it knows how to resize it and position itself. So it will not add any warnings or errors. It can be useful somewhere, I'm still not sure for which view, but probably for custom views. The more longer talk is about NSURL Session, features and best practices. There are some few cool things you should know about. So they talked about evolving NSURL Session API, transition from connection to session, which happened last few years, and HTTP to server push. So what is HTTP to server push? It basically allows you to, without using any code, based on a single request, to get multiple responses from the server which are related to that request. So it could be very useful in an app where you have a lot of master detail steps. Like you go list details. It will really fasten up the usability of the app. It will be a lot better because you get the resources and they are cached in the NSURL cache without using any code, except that the server has to do some stuff. But you don't care about that because you're an iOS developer, right? So, about the security. The IRC4 cipher is no longer supported in the NSURL session. I'm not sure, do you know what is IRC SHA? It's basically a string cipher, and it was used in web encryption, and we all know how web encryption worked and how long did it take to break it. And aside that, they added allows arbitrary loads in web content, which is like a build-up on Gkich talk about loading the public resources in the ATS, the TLS, security that Apple enforces. So this enables, if you set this flag on, it's object-based, so you can set it per object. So if you load a web view and you set this flag on, it means you can load the public resources without using HTTPS connection. So it's because the deadline is 2016, they had to do something about the public resources which need to be loaded. They introduced metrics also. This is a very cool debugging feature. Basically, they segmented the request response parts, and they set up checkpoints, like fetch start, lookup start, response end, and they can all be inspected with timestamps. It's basically a debugging feature. Aside of that, they talked about best practices for NSURL session. They talked about that it's a three-step process. So you need configuration to set up session, and session should be used to manage tasks. And they talked about this because they know this a lot of users, developers are using it wrong. So this is how session task relationship should look like. So you should not have one task per session. One session task. You should have one to end. So one session should be handling multiple tasks. And that's all. And